What's up, guys and gals? It's your host with the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys the latest chapter review for Kengan Omega. Kengan Omega, chapter 236. Goodbye. And before the rest of the chapter can bloody goddamn wait, what we have here is our main man, the connector, Shen Wulong, Jackie Lee, leaving after all the tomfoolery that went on with the rest of the chapter. And there is Narashiyama Joji, Joe. And he says, "Oh, Joe, you're back." And then Joji just says, right up front, "I heard everything. Did you do all this, Jackie? Standing around all the, well, they're not corpses, but unconscious people." And Shen says, "Yes, I did it. I see. That's a shame, Jackie." And that's when, because previous to this, Matsuda was like, "Great job, Noji. What the hell are we gonna do? Like, who is supposed to fight this guy?" And here's Joji showing up. Now, once again, didn't read Fist of the Seeker, but I know that this guy is at least A, if not S tier quality. So, along with Cosmo's master there, isn't he like an A tier or an S tier dude? So, okay. So then they just stare each other down, and that's when Shen says, "What do you do about it, Joe? Take me down?" And he's asking honestly, earnestly, and they're just staring at each other. And that's when Oma, who's sweating, is just like, "Narashiyama, don't do it. He'll kill you." So Oma has already recognized Shen's power, and I assume Oma's a pretty good, at this point, a pretty good judge on the level Shen's on. And though he recognizes Joji's strength, he probably can't give him... Joji is unlike... Joji's probably S tier, but he cannot defeat Shen. He's still not on that level. Like, we don't actually have a character. Some people are mentioning this guy, I think his name begins with a K or something. He's apparently from Fist of the Seeker. He might be on Shen's level or something, but other than that guy, that I don't remember his name, Katsuya, something like that. Katsuya. We know that he probably can't do it. And then even if he gave him even 5 seconds of a fight, we know that it's not gonna work out. And then this big, beautiful page. "I'm not gonna fight you. I can't punch my drinking buddy." And then Shen's, "If you challenged me to a fight, I might have lost." And I had to check that. I was like, wait, is Joji way more powerful? Because Shen, of all people, can definitely recognize people on his strength and stuff. He was like, Mukaku could probably kill Yan and Tiger Nico and those type of things. You are on that level. You 100% are. But you're just not on my level, right? Like, that was his deal. He can recognize the strength tiers because he's sitting on top. He's in the throne. He's on top. And he says, "If you challenge me to a fight, I might have lost." Now, once again, a lot of people say that both Kuroki, because a lot of people are using, Kuroki's humbleness against him, so we could use Shen's humbleness against him here as well. And at first I was like, wait, what? And then it gets better. It's not for the power scalers. It's for the bromancers, because this line has nothing to do with power scaling. It has to do with the fact that, next page, "Because I don't want to punch you either. Goodbye, Joe." He knows he's lost his friend. His friend Joe. His drinking buddy. So, it wasn't all for show. Like, once again, Jackie is still Shen. Like, he's a man who's like, yeah, I just want somebody to hang out with and stuff. And Joji is his friend. 100%. And Joji is Shen's friend. So, like, the whole idea here is Joji's like, yeah, like, even if he thought he could take him, he's like, I can't hit you, so I couldn't go all out against you if I wanted to. You're my drinking buddy, you know, you've been my friend now for a while. We've gone to Kengan matches together, blah, blah, blah. I can't punch you. I don't want to fight you. And Shen's sort of like, you know, out of all people, you probably have the best shot of anybody because I really wouldn't want to punch you properly either. So, you know, it would depend on who, you know what I mean? And I fully believe Shen. I fully believe that, I mean, you can make the argument, yeah, but that just means Shen would be holding back, but so would Joe. Like, he's basically saying, like, neither one of them would want to actually hurt the other, so it would depend on whose conviction was stronger, you could argue, and stuff like that, but it's not a power scaling moment. It's a bromance moment. And it's beautiful. And I feel so bad for these dudes. I feel so bad for these guys because we like Shen, we like Jackie. And he goes, yeah, goodbye, Jackie. They both say goodbye to each other. The whole chapter's about the drinking buddies. The whole chapter. And what did I say? I was one of the first guys, by the way, because I watch other reviewers and I go on the Reddits and the Discords. I was one of the first people to sit down, have a drink, and say, this is what I'm talking about. This is a bromance and stuff. You go back the first time these two interacted and stuff, and I was like, that's what I'm talking about. Yamagohan, Joe, Jackie, let's go. Let's have a wonderful peanut gallery. Let's go, you know? Like, this is greatness and stuff. And people were just pushing that to the side, focusing on the fights and stuff. No. Not this cat. You go back and you watch the first time they interacted, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. I like this relationship. I know I was one of the first, because I do watch other reviewers. And so this hits me as hard as it can hit just about any fan, I would argue. Because I was there from, in that regard, I was there from day one with this relationship, with this drinking buddy bromance. I was there from day one, so I'm 100% behind the gravity of this chapter. 100%. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It's very well done. It hit the feels where it needed to. That being said, Matsuda's still not wrong. Like, who the hell are we gonna take? Because they just called out basically everyone but the Beard himself. Which, once again, I don't get why everyone's against the idea that Kuroki has learned principles. I don't get, like, I read a lot of your comments and I responded to each of them in kind of stuff. People are like, no, but what I'm finding is no one's arguing that he hasn't learned principles. Everyone's arguing that, like, Shen is just too good at principles anyway, so it wouldn't matter. And I'm like, well, maybe, but isn't the whole idea that, like, the moment you achieve the enlightenment, just like Rahito did in his thing to understand, like, how to be a master and stuff, once you understand principles, it's not a linear, it's an exponential jump. It's not linear. You know, once you've discovered the secret, once you reach enlightenment, it's not just a +1 or a +10 or something. It doesn't work that way, you know what I mean? I don't get why everyone thinks it does, because inception of intent isn't linear, you know? Precognition isn't linear. It's literally the difference between being able to destroy anybody below you. You know, like, you've reached another level. You've reached a whole new bracket, a whole new tier. That's what it is. So my argument isn't that Kuroki would 100% be able to defeat Shen if he's learned principles. That's not my point. My point is that Shen's trump card, Shen's ability to use principles has now been... It would be like Agito versus Kuroki all over again, right? It would be the whole, my principles versus your principles. Principles are principles. Somebody's not better than the other just because they learned it first. You know what I mean? That makes no sense. Think about an RPG. Think about anything. If you have a sword that's plus 50 attack, and I unequip it, and I give it to another character, they don't only get +10 attack because the other character used it for 50 hours first. You know what I mean? That doesn't make sense. It's still, the sword still gives you +50. The ability, when you learn a new magic ability, when you learn a new shout in Skyrim, when you learn anything, like, if we actually think about this, when you master a trade, when you master a skill in the real world, it's not something that's linear. It's like, no, you've literally conquered. You have literally become as good. You know, like, it's not something that's, you know, now you can argue raw talent and all these things, but I would argue that Shen's, like, yeah, the makeup and stuff gives him an advantage. And once again, I'm not saying Kuroki can win. I'm saying that people are treating principles as though, okay, yeah, but there's principles level 1 to level 99. That's not how martial arts work. That's not how principles has ever been portrayed to work. That's not how any ability in this series has been portrayed to work. There's not like, oh, I have redirection kata level 46 against your level 49 bubble beam, you know, like, that's not how this works, you know. It's not. So if you master principles, you've mastered principles. There's not, oh, but I super duper mastered it. It doesn't work that way, you know. So I don't understand that. But still, Katahara, the whole point of this argument is that Matsudo is basically saying, who the hell are we going to have to fight this guy? And then we have the Joji shit, and it's like, oh, really? And it's like, no, it's all about the bromance, which I 100% appreciate it. But the question still stands. The community is asking, who the hell? You've called out everybody. Oma doesn't think he can win. So you've called out the Fangs. You've called out everybody. Like, there's nobody really left other than the Beard. You know, that wasn't called out and basically said, yeah, no, I can't do this. So I have no idea what Nogi's thinking and stuff, and so is Matsudo. So you're going to have to wait and see. The rest of the chapter pretty much goes on. What I like about this chapter is that Nogi continues on at the beginning of the chapter. See, now we can go back to the rest of it, right? Because the best part is already been reviewed. So what I like about it is that we start off once again. No, like, we'll stand by it, but we do this in the Kengan match and stuff. And Shen's like, oh, really? A Kengan match? Sure, let's do a match. And Yan and Luhan are like, whoa, wait a minute. We don't want to do that. And Shen's like, but I do. I want to fight. Sure. I mean, if that's the agreement and stuff. So Yan actually gets put on the back foot here. And he's like, well, do you have a leg to stand on? We could put you all in body bags right now, all 4 of us. And I'm like, no. Shen could put them all in body bags. The 3 of you aren't taking down Oma. And you have, like, well, granted, you don't have some guys here, but you still have Oma. I'm sure Misasa can get up and still fight and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Mutaba's still here. I guarantee you Mutaba can take out that bodyguard, okay? Mutaba can take out the bodyguard. So Yan's acting like they're top shit. It's like, yeah, take away Shen. Now do you really think you can get away with this unscathed? Because you're a moron if you do. I'm not trying to disrespect Yan and Luhan, but you're still not on the tier of Shen. You're still just there. You're powerful, but still. And he's still trying to act all tough and stuff, and like, he's like, yes, look at what we have done, and blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, we have protected the world from the connector, so without us, so, you know, the power of the military. And Shen's like, listen, I'm standing right here. Could you stop? Like, you don't need to talk for me. You're literally, like, I'm right fucking here. And then, in the end, Nogi's like, yeah, there's nothing we can do to gain the upper hand. However, we can even the playing field. It's like, well, you think that you're protecting the world from the connector. And it's like, okay, fair enough. So we have to meet your demands no matter what. You have no obligation to agree to a Kengan match. However, you made a fatal mistake. A literal fatal mistake. We have Dr. Hanafusa right here. And last time I recall, Hanafusa could have won his matches because he's like, yeah, I could have unleashed some deadly viruses on the entire place, but it would kill every living thing on the island, so I'm not going to do that. That doesn't really count as winning. So he didn't do it. But Hanafusa comes back, the dissector himself comes back, and he's like, yeah, everyone in this building is basically, you will not be able to run away before I kill you. I will kill all of you, sort of idea. And Shen even says, like, wait a minute, you're the trump card? I don't mean any offense, but, like, because he immediately gauges, like, look, you're definitely not taking me down. And he's like, oh, no, I understand. I'm not going to take you down with my fist. But I literally have a murder-suicide. I have tons of different viruses and stuff. And here's the weird thing, is that I saw on Reddit really quick before I started the review, is that people are all questioning because Shen basically says, oh yeah, like, I'm going to take out everybody in the room. Basically what he threatened before and stuff, right? And Matsudo's like, good on Nogi. That's exactly what I would have fucking done. Fuck these guys, you know? But Shen's thinking, I can't let Yan die. Who am I going to hang out with? Because he knows his relationship with Joe is over, obviously. So he's like, we accept your terms. A lot of people are taking this panel into context that Shen thinks that he'd survive because he doesn't breathe and all this shit, right? Okay. Well, last time I checked, didn't Dr. Hanafusa literally create his own fucking viruses and shit? So I believe that Shen thinks that he has a good likelihood. I'm just going to give you my 2 cents about this panel because people seem to be talking about it. So I think Dr. Hanafusa here, if he's slaughtered and releases, we don't know how many viruses and bacteria he's talking about. He could be releasing like 6 different versions of mustard gas. We have no fucking idea, right? We don't know how many infections he's talking about releasing toxins into the air, or on the skin, or in contact, what have you, right? We don't know. I would argue that they are homemade by yours truly, or so abstract, like super abstract, and 2, that they a lot of them might not necessarily be air-only toxins. You know what I mean? So you wouldn't have to breathe. They could be infected through the eyelid, you know, from the eyes, smelled through the nose. They could be from literal proximity, skin contact, a million other things, right? Shen, I think, maybe believes that out of everyone, the chances that he would survive are pretty good. But he's thinking for a fact that the guys by him, Luhan and Yan and them, they would definitely die. He doesn't have any qualms about that. So I think Shen's being a little too naive because he doesn't seem to know all the details about Dr. Hanafusa, which is fair. But I still say that no, Hanafusa would have absolutely killed him here. Like, if that were the case, they'd kill everybody in the arena, Shen included. Shen would not survive this, right? Maybe Shen believes he would. You can take that away from that. I think he's just thinking that he's got the best chance of survival. But even if he survives, nobody else is living. That's the way I'm taking it. But you can read into whatever you want. That being said, like, once again, there are so many toxins that you just need to be within like a 5-mile radius and your skin gets contracted with it. It's not just about breathing. So even if he can negate his breathing, he's going to negate that his skin was in a radius? You know, no, not every virus and toxin in the world needs to be breathed in. So, for you to be infected, and assuming Dr. Hanafusa came up with some crazy ones, you know, some mishmash of fucking, you know, Agent Orange meets mustard gas meets fucking, I don't know, chicken pox. Christ knows, right? So, anyway, that puts them on sort of the back foot. That's sort of like, okay, you've threatened us, we've threatened you, we're at a stalemate. Why don't you agree to our terms? If you win, we will follow it. And Nogi also says, we don't know what we will demand of you yet. We'll have a meeting about that. Nogi did a really good job, but his knees finally give out but by the time the worm leaves and stuff. And then we have the rest of the chapter, of course. So, great chapter, really good chapter. I really liked it because it explained, it was like, listen, you don't have us exactly on the back foot. You can claim that this dude has the power of like all the nuclear weapons of a country and stuff like that, but we can still kill him if we're willing to die ourselves, right? So, you want to play ball or not? We can play ball. We'll play by our rules. And they're like, all right. So actually, realistically, the Kengan Association got the W in this exchange. Realistically. They proved their point, but the Kengan Association was basically like, well, we're going to decide this our way. And they're like, no, we're not. And he's like, yes, we are. And yes, they are. So actually, it's a W for the Kengan Association. Really is. I mean, you can take it as like a half point or whatever, but it's certainly not a loss. They got they made the best out of that situation possible, and now have a slight upper hand on, okay, they've revealed Shen's power. We know this dude's a god, so we got to figure out a game plan here. So, either way, I like the chapter, and of course the bromance stuff. That's why we talked about it first. Peak fiction. I actually hate that when people are like, it's so peak. It's like, that's the new, it's so fire, or it's, what was the thing before fire? It's peak now, then it was fire before that, and now it's, this is straight fire. It can't be curvy fire, it always had to be straight fire. And the one before that I always forget, but I always hate these terms. I'm like, it's just good. Like, I don't know, I'm just getting old. I'm just bitching at this point. Either way, I love the chapter. What did you guys think? Chapter 236 entitled Goodbye, perfect title. Great chapter. Let me know down in the comment section down below what you guys thought of it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always. And we'll see all you wonderful people back here for more Kengan Omega. Chapter 237. Looking forward to it. Don't know what it's going to be about. Might even react to that one because I have no idea who we're going to be following or what's going to be discussed and stuff. So it might be pretty exciting to do a live reaction for that one. But we'll wait and see. Have a good one, everyone. Sayonara.